So a very, very, very good morning to everyone. Welcome to this week's market outlook. So this is a very fine, bright Monday morning as we get to the end of July and also we get to the start of August, the month of August. So it's been a very, very fruitful. It's been a very, very fruitful month, and as we get to the end of it, let's have a look at what you're expecting for this week. So markets closed last week at after we had quite some good setups on pairs like NZD, USD, USD CHF, GBP USD as well, Euro USD. So it's very important to see what are we looking out for as we start off the week. So here you can see I have a very in the weekly market outlook for the pairs that you are trading from NZD, USD, and USD CHF. So feel free to check these out. I also have a video here talking about how to manage your swing positions, and also we had a midweek market review for last week. So this is this week's market outlook. And you can find all this information here at chasecapitalke.blogspot.com. These are very public blogs, so anyone and everyone can be able to access and get the information from right here. So this is a free public. This is a very free. This is a very free public blog that one can be able to access this information from. And also we do have YouTube at Chase Capital 254, where you can be able to now find the deeply detailed videos, and also this one will also be posted on YouTube as well. So starting off with GBP USD, as you can see, the kind of setup we have right here. Or probably let me even start off with NZD USD, because that was NZD USD and USD CHF, because that was those are the major pairs we were looking out for last week. Then we see what transpired. So this is NZD USD. As you can see, the target was already hit. Remember, the target was 0.6500 areas. This was our area of entry within this minor structure that we do have here. So I am looking at now we've seen price hit the target area. Now we've seen a very strong bearish reversal as we can currently see. And looking at this from a ranger's perspective, this demand area is a very key area of interest. Consider there's this demand area here, there's this demand area here. This being the origin of the rally all the way to this supply area on multiple occasions. So making this our arcing range being from this demand to this supply, from this supply to this demand, from demand again back to supply, and having known this as being the origin of the major rally all the way to this supply, and this supply being the origin of the major drop multiple times from here till here, here again, and now you're seeing from right here. So for NZD USD, I'm looking at a potential continuation of the drop lower, with price coming back to these levels of 0.59100, basically just the major basically just the origin of this whole rally for this range to get filled. So for NZD USD, I'm looking at a potential bearish continuation scenario. I'm looking at price coming to the areas of 0.59100. Then we can have a look at USD CHF. So USD CHF, as you can see, very strongly pushing to the upside. And we had mentioned this even in the outlook right here. This demand area being a very key area of interest and being the origin of the rally all the way to this supply. And our arcing range from this demand to this supply back to this demand. So I'm expecting to see price push all the way to this supply area. So our target area for this is the levels of 0.80500 areas. This being our arcing range that we are anticipating and looking out for. Okay. So I'm expecting to see price rally all the way to the levels of 0.8500 areas. Currently, we do have quite a strong dollar, so I'm expecting to see a very strong bullish push all the way to these areas of 0.8500 areas for that range to be filled. Then you also have Euro USD. Euro USD is something I mentioned very in depth about on Friday. So you can see our working range being from this supply to this demand and back to this supply. That is the first range we are working with. From this area has been from this demand to this supply, from this supply back to this demand, from demand again back to supply. So currently you can see a very strong push to the downside. I'm expecting to see price come back to this demand area being the first area of interest. So the number being 1.16185, that is where I'm expecting to see price come to. Before now, we either see if price will hold at this demand, then definitely we'll be expecting a potential bullish reversal. If not, and we see a break below, we'll say something like this, and the price coming all the way to this next demand area here down here, the levels of 1.14500. But so far, one is that the sentiment is bearish. Two is that we will be expecting to see price come first up to the first level, which is 1.16180. Then from there we can expect either potential reversal or continuation after price taps into this level of interest. So let's observe and see how price reacts to that. But so far we are quite in quite some very good bearish momentum. So let's observe and see how price reacts to this. Then you have GBP USD. So GBP USD, we had a very strong rally, then price got to this supply area. As you can see, this supply being a very key area of interest. You have this area here. This level being a very key area of interest. So and our working range again being from this supply to this demand, again all the way back to this supply. And now price dropped again back to this area. Chances are very high because now we are looking at a potential a potential bullish dollar. I'm looking at price breaking below this area, and we see a scenario like this: a breakout, then a retest, then a potential continuation of the drop lower due to the kind of dollar strength that you're looking out for. So let's observe and see. Let's observe and see how price reacts to this. Considering today is Monday, so and you can see the markets have opened with quite a bit of momentum. So let's observe and see how price reacts to let's observe and see how price reacts to this. But so far, so good. If price breaks below, then definitely expect a push to the downside all the way down. But in case it holds and consolidates like we saw here, then we might see a potential bullish reversal. But first, we actually have to see the breakout before now we can be able to forecast a potential continuation of the drop lower. Okay. So we have that. Then let's have a look at USD CAD as well. Let's see what we are looking out for. USD CAD. There is USD CAD. We had a very strong push to the upside. Price broke above this area. We are looking at price rallying to the levels of 1.37600. Then the next area of interest is the levels of 1.37900 areas. Basically, this supply that we do have up here. So currently we have a lot of dollar strength. So let's observe and see how price reacts. Let's observe and see how price reacts to this. Okay. Then we can have a quick look at we had the Euro GBP as well. Euro GBP is also one of the pairs that we are looking out for. And you can see price tapped this, we had the breakout, retest, continuation. Price tapped this supply, then you can see a very, very, very strong bearish reversal from this next supply here on the daily time frame. So this was also a very good about 100 pip move on Euro GBP, and now we are seeing that be a strong bearish reversal. So let's observe and see how price reacts to that as well. On the Euro GBP, we have a very bearish reversal. Then lastly, I will cover Nasdaq and US 30. So here you have Nasdaq. So you can see Nasdaq is still forming all-time highs. I'm looking at price coming to the areas of 23,600 areas. Remember this week we do have FOMC. And we also have NFP. So this is quite a volatile week for the dollar. So I'll be expecting to see price push to the levels of 23,600 areas on Nasdaq. Then lastly, we have US 30. So for US 30, you can see we've had price reacting from all-time highs of 45,000. We saw price tapping into 45,120. We'll first wait to see how price reacts within this area before whether anticipating a potential break above or a potential reversal within this area. So for this one, I'll be very careful on how to approach it because we're at a very key area of interest where we had all-time highs at 45,000. So let's observe and see how price reacts to this. So with that, guys, that is the outlook for the week. Those are the pairs I'm majorly watching out for. Definitely will be sending updates on the private Discord here, the Trace Capital private Discord. I will be sharing updates on this even right here on the trading room. So with that, guys, I wish you a very fresh and productive week ahead. Let's get it, everyone. I will be giving you a midweek review in the middle of the week just to give you updates on how the setups are ongoing and performing. So with that, guys, cheers, everyone. Stay blessed and stay financially literate, and I'll see you on the next one.